Hi there, this is Jen, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm participating in a hop between Dare to be Artsy, which I am a member of their design team, and Sweet Petunia, which is the company that creates the Misti stamping tool. And just as a disclaimer, I did receive the Misti that I'm using, the Mini Misti, at no charge, but I do already have a Misti that I purchased from Joann's that is the larger 6x8 size, so I just wanted to throw that out there. And I also wanted to mention that there is a giveaway, and I'll go ahead and mention that a little bit later in the video, but the giveaway is going to be actually on my blog, and so that address will be in the description below. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my supplies. So I'm using this beautiful Dare to be Artsy stamp. It's called Tangled Poinsettia. I'm going to use a red card panel, a shimmery white, and a craft. I will also be using a little bit of vellum. And I chose to do 3 cards just to show, if you're not familiar with the Misti or are new to card making and you just don't know what it is a great tool for helping you do multiple stamped images. It's great for doing a whole scene, really, if you had a bunch of stamps and you wanted to do a whole scene and stamp them all at once. And if you're like me and you either can't stamp straight or you can never get an image stamped completely the first time, this is a lifesaver. So for me today, I am going to be creating these 3 cards. The layout is going to be exactly the same. So each card is basically going to be the same except for the colors that I'm using. So each card panel will be inked up with some watermark ink. For the craft panel and the red panel, I am just using the watermark ink or the embossing ink as a watermark, so it's just going to be kind of a faint background image. The white cardstock that I'm using, the watermark won't show on that, and so what I chose to do was use some white embossing powder, which gives it a really beautiful, elegant look with that white on white. But as you can see, I don't move the stamp. I'm just taking the panel out and replacing it with the next panel that I want to use. And I'll go ahead and continue doing this for all cards. The Misti makes it super quick and easy to create cards like this, especially around Christmas time when we're creating more cards than what we normally would. This is a great tool to have. I'm going to go ahead and continue to stamp up these images, but I wanted to mention the giveaway really quick. I know that the Dare to be Artsy has a $20 gift card up for grabs as well. You can get 10% off of your order from October 29th through November 8th, and I will put the code up on the screen as well as the description below. There might be more information on giveaways at the time of this recording. I don't have all of the information, so please go ahead and check out the description below. I also wanted to mention that the giveaway is going to be on my blog, not on YouTube. So while I love when you leave comments and let me know how I'm doing or just give feedback, to enter the giveaway you're going to need to head on over to my blog, which of course I will have a description below. And so I wanted to show you the Hero Arts Misti. So this is the one I purchased from Joann's. It is a bigger size, and I actually like it probably a little bit better, especially if you're doing stuff that is off the edge of the cardstock. If you were deciding which Misti to get and you only could get one, I would definitely go with the bigger size because then you can use all of the Misti corners, which is kind of hard to do with the mini Misti. But I actually probably use the mini Misti more, but I really like having this big one, for bigger stamps, especially those 6x6 red rubber stamps. And so as you can see, I'm taking the vellum and I have embossed it with white embossing powder, and then one of them is with gold embossing powder, and then pretty much that is it for the cards except for putting the sentiment on. So next I'll go ahead and put the sentiment. I have created a frame for each panel, and so I've created a red frame, a tan frame, and a white frame, and that's just a little border that I'm going to put just to add something extra. And so I'm going to take some of the sentiments from the stamp set. I really love the sentiments in the stamp set because I love it when, especially if you're using a kind of a longer sentiment, I love it when companies mix the font types. So I think it looks really beautiful detail, and it just gives something extra to these cards. So this first one that I'm stamping, I'm going to go ahead and use my watermark again, or my watermark ink, and I am going to white emboss this. And the sentiment on this card says, wishing you a beautiful Christmas. And then for the next two, I'm basically going to go ahead and do the same thing. As you can see, this card is a horizontal, so it is a top fold, and then the other two cards are going to be side folds. So the tan cardstock, I used a white embossing powder, and then the white cardstock, I used a gold embossing powder. And next I'm going to take the frames that I created and adhere those with some liquid glue. Then I'll place my stamping blocks on there just to keep that, let the glue dry. And then for all of the poinsettias, all the vellum poinsettias, I take a round circle. Yeah. I'm going to take a foam dot and adhere that to the panel. And then on this one, I took some of my paint marker in white and gold, and I wish I hadn't had done that. I wish I just left well enough alone. So in the final pictures of the card, you will see that there's a little bit of extra detail on there. But I think it looks fine. Still, I just, it's one of those things that when you maybe should stop and then you don't. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the poinsettia. I add a few embellishments to the center of that, some little pearl embellishments, and that will complete that card. And for the remaining two cards, I just follow the same exact process, adhering the thin border and then adhering the poinsettias. And so my favorite is probably this white one. I really love the white on white. This says, wishing you joy in every merry moment. And then the last one says, Christmas is the perfect time to remind you that I love you. I actually really love that sentiment. It's a beautiful sentiment. And that is it. Those are my 3 cards for today. Don't forget to go ahead and check out the blog, and then as well follow along all the participants on the blog hop for your chance to win. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this video or found it informative, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I will catch you next time.